Good morning, and thank you guys all for coming. Short notice, I know, but it's a big deal, and we wanted to wait till the last minute to put it out there. For the record, my name is Detective Melanie Robinson with Kent Police Department. Chief Ken Thomas will be speaking, and so will others that are here as well. I'm going to introduce him, and then we'll go from there. Chief Ken Thomas here.
All right. I wanted to announce today that this morning, murder charges were filed by the King County Prosecutor's Office against 25-year-old DeMartre L. Kime for the murder of 1-year-old baby Malijah Grant. Kime is also being charged with 2 counts of assault in the first degree involving the parents who were with baby Malijah at the time of her homicide. This filing is a result of an 8-month investigation and collaboration of local and federal law enforcement that includes the Kent Police Department, the Seattle Police Department, the King County Sheriff's Office, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, FBI, Northwest HIDA, and the King County Prosecutor's Office. Our investigation has revealed that Kime is a self-proclaimed member of the Seattle area criminal street gang Low Profile. Kimes targeted this victim family for a drive-by shooting because he believed the father to be an associate of an opposing street gang, Deuce 8, a gang in which Kime blamed for the recent murder of his friend, John Williams. The result of this ill-conceived gang retaliation was that one of the 8 bullets fired at the victim's car struck 1-year-old baby Malijah in the head, killing her. Baby Malijah, it turns out, was a blood relative of the very friend that Kime sought to avenge. Investigators have served 46 search warrants. Approximately 71,000 pages of social media content has been reviewed. That includes Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. The narrative of the lead detective on this case is already 1,000 pages long, and the investigation is not yet complete. We have interviewed 213 witnesses from various states, and over 110,000 individual phone calls have been reviewed, prioritized, and linked thus far in this investigation. Our investigation indicates that Kime was not the only participant in this terrible murder. Therefore, we continue to work hard to bring everyone involved to justice.
We do have charging documents today, 1 count of murder in the second degree, 2 counts of assault in the first degree in this case for the shooting which happened back in April. And we must never forget the innocent victim of this crime. A small child, 1-year-old Malijah Grant, whose life was taken from her in this senseless act of violence. And our hearts also break for her parents, Martrice and Lisa, who suffered life's greatest tragedy, the loss of a child, and to have it happen in such a senseless, violent manner while they were also being targeted is a horrific thing to consider. And it's clear that the enormity of this tragedy was also not lost on the investigators. The detectives from multiple departments, the detectives primarily assigned from Kent, the Senior Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Adrian McCoy from my office, have been working tirelessly on this case for 8 months. And they have been able to put together a case to bring the first part of this case to justice. I want to emphasize that the filing of the case today does not mean it is over. We believe that there's at least one more person responsible for the criminal violence, and the filing of the charges today does not mean that our work is over. Far from it. It means that we are entering phase 2 of this investigation. A drive-by shooting scene, often leaves only puzzle pieces for investigators. And in this case, the charges will detail the tremendous amount of effort that went into putting all of these pieces of the puzzle together to bring a case that we think is a solid case that we can present to a jury. But we also know that there are people who are still in the community who know a lot about this case that would help us bring ultimate justice for the death of Malijah Grant. We think that there are other shooters, and we think there are other people who know about one or more shooters. And we ask them to send us that information, to call the Kent Police Department, just to call 911 even with that information, and it will get to the investigators. We also join in the hope that this cycle of violence and retaliation that claimed the life of this small child will somehow ring a bell to encourage these groups to stop the violence. It is senseless violence. It has now claimed the life of a young child. The escalation of revenge between these two groups can only lead to more suffering and more heartbreak. Now that an innocent child has been killed and has been identified as a victim of senseless gang violence, we hope that the whole community will rise together and say enough. Enough is enough. It's time to stop this senseless violence on our streets. If convicted of the crimes that he is charged with, the defendant faces a minimum range of 41 to 54 years. It may be by the time that these other legal matters are taken care of that he will face a range of well in excess of 50 years for this offense.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Chief Thomas. Dan touched on the great police work that was done by many detectives, not only at the Sheriff's Office, but the Seattle Police Department, federal investigators, as well as the King County Sheriff's Office. But I want to mention 3 detectives in particular: Sergeant Tim Ford, Detective Rick Gilchrist, and Detective Brandon Wales from the Kent Police Department. They did the bulk of the work. They did fantastic investigatory work. They're still doing good work, and that case really belongs to them. They had help, but that case belongs to them. So I want to thank them for that really good work that they did. We all worked very, very well together, very closely together. There are no silos. Well, there's some egos, but the egos don't get in the way. And by that I mean the local police departments, working with ATF, working with the FBI, working with Homeland Security. We all share information and we all get along. And that's really important. It's important in cases like this, but it's also important in terrorism investigations. We have to have that cooperation, and in King County, we do have that cooperation, and that's a very good thing.
There's a small element within King County that thinks they can take matters into their own hands at the expense of the general public out there. And as all of our partners here have said, but especially Sheriff Ericott, we work very well together. That small element will not be allowed to take the streets of King County, Seattle, Kent, or any other community here and take these matters into their own hand. We will work together to remove them so that the streets of King County are safe for everyone, especially for a family with a 1-year-old in the car. Thank you.
This is a great day for law enforcement here in King County, and with the successful step in this investigation. For ATF, we're very glad that we could be a part of this investigation, and as Sheriff Urquhart said, it is a collaborative of efforts that needs to happen in the instances like this to show the cooperation between the various levels of federal and state and local law enforcement, and we're glad that ATF could be a part of it. We've developed a task force along with most of the members that are behind me here. This task force is designed to investigate crimes like this, uses forensic technology as well as good police work to help put these crimes together. And I think this has probably been the most successful case thus far that we've utilized the NIBIN technology, which is the comparisons of shell casings that are left behind at crime scenes. Very happy to have Washington State Police Department behind us in this effort as well. And it goes to show if you're going to use use a firearm in a crime of violence like this, we have these types of resources to help combat that. Again, great day for law enforcement, great day for the community here in the success of this case thus far. Thank you.
We were able to provide resources of our intelligence center, assigning a full-time analyst to assist the lead detectives in this investigation and analyzing principally the phone numbers that were involved, which was substantial in showing its criminality and furthering the indictment. So that's what we did.
All right. Thank you very much.